What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Tomorrow, where we talk about confidence after setbacks. I'm your host, Mike Kinney, and with me today,
I am your comeback after the problem, like he said. I'm your co-host, Randy Harig, and the feature of this show. Nah, that's not true. We have a special guest this week.
we do indeed. We're also doing something very special that I don't know if anybody's going to notice, Randy. I don't even know if this is actually streaming, but we're trying to stream live on Facebook right now. If it's working, it's going to be a very dangerous thing to know that we are out there live and people can comment and follow us along. I'm going to actually go on to Facebook right now and see if it's actually working because I'm a little skeptical. But
Well, you tell me to stay off my phone, but you can do it.
dude,
Hey,
it is working.
truthfully,
We're live.
It's streaming down my leg right now. People will not be able to see this. However, if you join the Patreon, you still won't be able to see this.
You know, I have my notes here to close the show, and I always forget to tell you about the Patreon. I always forget. It's not on here whatsoever. I have subscribe and leave a comment. I have the micro brawler.
If you come, anybody in the comments, if you tell me to take a bite of something, I'll do it.
Oh God. So just so everybody knows, I just had to give Randy a hard time because he's over here eating, bagel bites like he's back in 7th grade, and we're not trying to shoot a podcast episode here and be professionals. He doesn't have his phone on mute. He has a cold. I mean, this is a recipe for disaster today.
I don't have a cold. What the fuck are you talking about? and incidentally, bitterness is the word of today, where the bitter host is mad because mama didn't give him any bagel bites.
Hey, man, I'll eat bagel bites when I want bagel bites. I just don't want any right now. All right?
Yeah, said everybody ever.
Can you at least tell me what flavor they are? I mean, are you eating just the plain cheese ones, or do you have some toppings on it?
Wait a minute. Okay, let's cover this real quick.
They should be pepperoni. That's the only right answer.
Well,
I dare you to say they're plain cheese. Are they plain cheese?
Listen to me. I have a philosophy. Plain cheese pizza, plain cheese is a waste of time.
Thank you.
It's like an incomplete assignment. Please put something on. You don't even have to be a meat eater, man. Put veggies on, do something. But cheese, come on. That's like not even trying.
How do you feel? Like, where do you stand with pineapple on your pizza? What's your belief here? What's your stance?
I believe there's only one kind of pizza that can be okay with pineapple.
Okay.
I don't put it on it. Well, of course. Okay. What else would it be?
Well, so seriously, stay with me here. All right.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
So the typical. This is great content. I mean, dude, this is great content.
Stuff right here.
All right. You can't lead a podcast about confidence if we don't at least agree on the pizza. Listen, so Bree loves Canadian bacon and pineapple. I enjoy a good sausage black olives, right? So we decided
that's what I heard
20 years ago, and I can see Jay off he's in the green room, but I can see him. He doesn't know this, but I can see him right now. And we combined the two. So sausage, black olives, Canadian bacon, pineapple. I know, but trust me when I tell you, it's pretty good, pal. You got nothing for that? I'll let you get back to eating your bagel bites, but we do have a guest today.
Yeah, and you're preempting the guest with talk about whether or not there should have pineapple on pizza.
I'm sure he's got an opinion on it. I'm going to ask him the same thing.
Hey, you and your wife, I've heard of much worse pizza than that. I'm not the biggest black olives, but I could probably do it. But I'm a 4-meat guy. Or pep and sausage.
Okay.
That's a staple, man. That's just pizza. I mean, and then after that, it's all, and there ain't nothing wrong with old school.
No, there's not. Like the old school villains. Speaking of old school villains, we do have a guest today. He is going to walk us through. So here's the deal. If you listen to the last episode, you know about this guy already. He once wrestled as Big Daddy Dolan. He's been friends with Randy and I for a very, very long time. I met I met our guest in 1999, right at the tail end of it, when he and you know what, I'll let him kind of tell the story. But we met through, we just kind of met by accident through another wrestler, and it's how Jay ended up becoming a professional wrestler. Was we met up, and the rest, as they say, is history. But I'm so excited for him to be able to come on here and share his story. When we talk about confidence after setbacks, he had one of the biggest setbacks that you could possibly have, and I want him to talk a little bit more about that. But without any further ado, we're going to bring on our friend right now, Mr. Jay Behrends. Jay, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the show.
That was scary.
We're live, pal.
I just appeared on the screen.
Put that thing down. Put it down. Now it's time to talk. Okay.
Oh, it's not that big anyway. Ask my wife.
I know, boy. But the camera makes, like.
If that was the case, I would look like I weigh like 110 pounds then. Look at me. I'm still fat.
Hey, fat is a thing, and I'm still trying to bring it back. Bringing fat back.
I don't remember a time when you weren't fat. Oh, wait, that was Mike. I'm sorry.
Hey, man, do you want to be a guest or not? We'll wrap this thing up, bastard.
Oh, yeah.
Goddamn.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
All right.
Good evening.
Welcome to the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just first of all, I just want to say you guys both look just amazing. You guys have aged well. I don't see
what podcast is he on?
Yeah, he's on something.
Oh, I was just trying to be professional. That's what you told me to do.
Yeah, why start now, Jay?
I mean, if I could sum up our three looks together here, all together, is probably drizzling shits.
Well,
I will never bullshit you. I am the one person on the internet that will tell it straight.
Did you gargle with gravel right before you came on here, Andy? I swear to God, with this cold of yours.
I already told you what that was.
There's no cold, homie.
Dude, you have a dairy allergy then, because you're allergic to those pizza wheels you're eating. That's the only other explanation for this.
Pizza wheels? What is this?
My goal is to talk about every single pizza appetizer there is. That's what's on your plate today.
Wheels. Don't you bring up pizza boats. I'll drive that thing right up your ass.
We need to get you some Sudafed. I mean, you need some rest. You need some little agua. There you go.
Apple cider vinegar.
I like to drink water too, but mine's in a yellow can.
From the mountains.
Yeah.
From the Colorado mountains. All right. Well, listen, Jay, we're really appreciative that you were able to come on with us today. We are taking a massive risk here by not only trying to go live on Facebook right now as we're doing this, just because why not? But I was telling Jay before we went live, there hasn't been a single episode that we've done yet where there hasn't been some kind of breakdown in terms of whether it's audio, video, something's gone wrong on almost every single. At one point, I lost one of the connectors when we did the Lucha Union show, and we had to. I mean, it's just been a whole thing. So
just buy a new one on Amazon.
I did, but it didn't get here in time. So anyway, long story longer is that we figure having you as someone who could easily be the most controversial guest in the history of podcasts come on and go live with us.
I was kind of worried. I am the most controversial person ever.
Indeed.
I'm not gonna. I just don't like to hold things back, and I get it. People have these things called feelings, but you guys both know, as long as you've known me, feelings don't run deep in me. I'm a firm believer that there are no participation medals. There are no, hey, you did a great job, even though you sucked. I don't believe that. That's not how anybody gets better. And so I do say things that come off like I'm an asshole, but that is not ever
fuck facey.
Yeah, but that's never the intent. My intent is always to help and make people better. It's been a thing that I've done for a long time. I like to have a good time doing it, And the world back then, when we were rolling together, you could get by with that. And now people just get pissed off. But you know, the new quote that I love is, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right.
Fair enough. Well, let's do this, Jay. We talked a little bit about your wrestling career in the last episode of the podcast.
I heard.
mainly because I think that there's you're one of the people that I know that actually was taking a real hard run at the wrestling business, and it was cut short in such a different way than everybody else's is. You know, like in the pro wrestling game, or in most professional athletes' worlds, they never know when their last event or game or match is. And nobody ever really knows. Only a few of the lucky ones get to actually walk away. You know, you look at what just happened to John Cena in 2025. He had a plan and he walked away, and luckily he was able to execute that plan, go out on top. But not everybody is always that lucky. And unfortunately, you know, we're talking before, Randy and I, about how when it comes to big men in the wrestling business, at one point you were pushing about 450 pounds. You and I were up and down the road together. And
Legit 5.
yeah, I mean, you were
5.
big fella, 500 pounds and light as a gazelle. You were very easy to work with. You could just move in the ring so well, not just for a big guy, but just in general. And then you tack on the fact that you weighed 500 pounds. You weren't hurting anybody, which is wild to think about. It was when I wrestled you. Well, when I wrestled you, it was always so much fun. There was a match that you and I had in Worthington. I don't know if you remember this match.
Yep, Troy Peterson show. It was one of my top 5 matches ever. Yeah, that was a great night. I'm glad that me and you went over and we were able to do that in front of that crazy cowboy biker.
It was a wild place, but I accidentally saw a little clip of it. Some of the old footage of mine from my wrestling days was getting digitized during all of that like documentary stuff that was going on last year, and I got a bunch of that footage back, and they digitized that match with me and you. And just literally a week ago, I watched it. The problem is that the film ran out about a third of the way into our match. And so you don't get to see all of it, but you came out of the curtain fired up, bro. Like you were cussing these people, something fierce. I mean, you were cussing these people so hard, I was blushing just watching it right now. And I'm just like, holy crap. But we could get away with it. That was that bar. We could definitely get away with it. It was
absolutely
very special. But listen, I don't want to get too far ahead. I want you, let's just take a step back. Walk us through where you grew up, how you grew up. Were you a fan of wrestling, and then how you got involved in the wrestling business?
Yeah, man, I know you only got an hour and a half, but whew, you know where I grew up. I'm a small town kid, right? My family lived in Clarks Grove. I came from a broken.
This is
family.
Minnesota, right? This is southern Minnesota.
Yes, Minnesota. Minnesota.
Let's get that mic closer to your mouth, Jay. We got to get it closer to your mouth.
So I got to turn this. So we can somehow do this. All this nerd stuff here. Anyway, yeah, Clarks Grove. Whatever. We'll just do this. Yeah, so that's a small town here in Minnesota. I think population of that town was like literally 400 back in 1980. Just a small little nothing. And we unfortunately were very poor, and I don't mean poor like poor. I mean eating government cheese and peanut butter from cardboard. That's how poor we were. My grandfather and my grandmother both were not in good health. My dad was a big douchebag. He left my mom when she was 9 months pregnant, and my mom moved us in with my grandparents, and she was my grandparents' caregiver, if you will. And my grandpa and my grandma were the biggest wrestling fans ever. Just kind of like Randy when he talked to us. Hey, did you see what Ric Flair did to Steamboat last week? And I would literally look at my grandpa and go, "You dumb son of a bitch! I sat in that chair watching it with you. Of course I seen." But that's the things that made my grandpa proud, was to talk about wrestling, and he used to take me to some shows. In fact, I went to a show here in Albert Lea. I had to have been like 10, 11. Dan Schaffner, Shifty, was on that show. And,
hold on a second. There's no way Shifty was on that show.
Yeah, well,
If you
I
were
might have
10
been
or 11.
I was there too.
Yeah,
Was that it? Was Mantar on that show?
The only person I actually remember was Shifty, because he kept doing this thing.
Serious?
I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm dead serious. And
is that Jay? Was that one that had the Trooper on there?
Yes.
DJ Peterson, Rock and Roll Buck Zumhoff was on there. Because I got the Trooper's autograph at that show that would go on to be the Patriot. I still got it, and I still got a goddamn Rock and Roll Buck Zumhoff. If anybody would like to buy that,
I don't think anybody wants to buy that.
No,
I don't know. I don't know anyone else who has it. I was a little kid. I never threw it away. I just
maybe Shane Shimon. That's his dad, after all.
That Jim Gagne, I think, was on that show too. Jay.
There was yeah, he did. Yeah,
spelled like Jim Gagnon. You know,
like gag. Gag.
All right, so you were a wrestling fan. Let's go back to the timeline here.
Yeah, so
we was there.
And we used to go to other AWA stuff, because it was the Minnesota territory, and it was always fun because my grandpa didn't really do much. He really couldn't. He worked for the state of Minnesota for 50 years, and his health just wasn't good, but he was always somehow able to go to a wrestling show, and I got to go with him. And I knew from a very early age that I wanted to be a wrestler. However, I had the opposite of Andre the Giant syndrome. Andre grew up, I grew out, and I was always the fat kid, right? I think when I was 3rd to 4th grade, I was already 160 pounds. So I was always accustomed to being big. And so I just functioned with it every day. It was nothing new to me. If I wanted to go and do things with friends, sports, it was I had to shit or get off the pot, right? I was a big baseball kid, played baseball a lot, played baseball all the way up through my high school career. Got mixed up with these fools here, and we'd go out to the Y, and we'd pretend that we were Michael Jordan, and do all kinds of basketball stuff. It was NJ and Randy and Kevin Fox and the boys.
Kevin's a big viewer of this too, so he'll see that.
So that's how I ended up meeting Randy. So I knew Randy long before anybody else. And again, going back to the thing is we were poor. We didn't have money, and I knew that being a wrestler was going to be unachievable because it was expensive, or so we thought, right?
Yeah. Hold on, just for anybody that's watching us, that has joined us, we're interviewing today. We're trying this whole Facebook Live thing. So thank you for joining along with us. We're interviewing a former professional wrestler today. His name is Jay Behrends. He wrestled as Big Daddy Dolan. If you have questions or if you want to leave a comment, go ahead and drop it right down there in the comment there on Facebook, and they'll pop up on our screen. We'll be able to answer the questions along the way. So Jay, you were a wrestling fan growing up, grew up in Southern Minnesota. Let's talk a little bit more about how you broke into the wrestling business.
Yeah, so I got approached by a really skinny, crew cut haired guy. Turns out that it ended up being Mike Kenny, and he came and he gave me this spiel about how they were doing stuff, and they were gonna do.
Well, you and I met through Shane, right? Shane introduced. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Shane's the guy that sent you to talk to me. Action Sport. Yeah, where Shane stole all those sneakers and all the basketball gear.
He probably. Well,
okay, so So
That's for another day, evidently.
That's another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So you and Shane were friends. You guys were doing your thing, and I used to go in there and buy shoes and sporting goods. Now I really did buy it because I'm not like that. But I've seen a lot
Actually,
of shitty
I can say that I've shopped at that store too.
yeah.
Actually, a financial exchange between a currency exchange.
And so I got to interact with Shane a couple times, and Shane would bring up wrestling, and of course, being the wrestling fan that I was, I would chime in with some stuff, and then Shane started asking questions about if I loved wrestling or if I liked wrestling, and obviously, yeah. And then Shane goes to you, Shane talks to you, you come and approach me on it, and I'll be honest, I was like, no way. Like this isn't real. But I remember I showed up to the first invite and I seen a wrestling ring and I was like, no way. Like this is real. Like we're gonna fucking do this. But this was before
we're gonna try.
Yeah. But this was before we knew anything, right? These were just kids.
I was 17 years old when I met you, man. I was still in high school.
Yeah, Shane was 40, I think.
Shane was 62.
Yes. Yes, 62.
But this was before all the YouTube, and this was before all that, that fancy stuff. So we had no idea what we were doing. We thought we were doing something cool. And
we were doing something cool.
We absolutely were. I will never forget where I came from. I never got too big to ever recognize what we were and who was there. I know some of us that went on to do a lot of other good things, they tend to try to hide the fact that they once were a part of that small little Minnesota company, and I will never do that. Like even today, when people bring it up, like that's the foundation, right? That's what built my pyramid, and that will always belong on the bottom, because the bottom of my pyramid is always going to be the strongest. And without it, I wouldn't have got to do half of the cool shit that I did. I didn't do as cool stuff as you did, Mike, but I did some cool stuff, so I came and I was the new guy, right? And I remember this story. Like, Mike had a Singapore cane. I know you guys talked about that not long ago, and Mike used to love to hit us with that thing. Like, just like we're gonna get better because he's gonna hit us with the Singapore cane, and we're like, oh yeah, let's go. And I think he broke like 4 or 5 of them. But we could get those. But we could get those right here. Like, we didn't have to have them outsourced. So we played with Singapore canes for a while. But
I want to keep going with that. A couple of things. First, a shout out to Navar Olson, who is in the comments, and John Halverson. One of the AWO originals, one of the legitimate AWO originals.
Yes,
Mr. Justin Attitude.
Justin Attitude.
Hats off to you, sir. He wants to know if you still enjoy Twinkies, Jay.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't enjoy Twinkies?
It's like rhetorical.
It's a rhetorical question.
It is a rhetorical question, Farley.
So now when I go back and I look at that, when you came in, we were really trying to get the AWO up and running even stronger than what we were. And we'd run a small handful of shows by the time I had met you. And so but what the interesting thing was that was happening during that time was it was a whole new class of guys coming in. And at the same time, there was a whole class of guys from the AWO that were kind of exiting the business because they'd maybe done it with us on trampolines and backyards and stuff for a year. And some of them were starting to realize that, like, again, we're kids, and some were like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. And then other people wanted to do it. Right. And so we were trying to find more wrestlers, more people that had the drive and desire and determination that we did. And that whole class, we ran that show. Randy and I have talked about it in depth. April 15th, 2000, Anarchy in Austin at the ballroom, man. The ballroom where we just ran Lucha Union. that show is special for so many reasons, and specifically the giant class of talent that we had coming into that show for the first time. It was Randy's first show. It was your first show, Jay. Chaos,
And
it was
almost my
his first show.
last.
And almost your last. It was Grizz's first show, Oz's first show. There were so many guys on that
Dirk
card.
McGinnis.
Dirk McGinnis's first show.
Chuck
You know
McCoy.
what? Chuck McCoy for sure. I can't remember if Dirk McGinnis did a November shot for us the previous year or not, because we did have a show that previous November, but like Swafta worked for us that November before. And if John's still sitting on here, maybe he can help me clarify some of that, because a couple of bangs to the head kind of rattles some things from time to time. But anyway, Jay, that was your first show. Walk us through, what were you feeling that day? We drew incredibly well, so that adds a whole new level of nervousness to it. Walk me through that day.
Yeah, so that day, it was kind of just like a kid on December 24th. Couldn't sleep that night. Constantly just thinking about what we were going to do and how bad we were going to screw it up. And I had the opportunity to work Grizz, who I have known for an extremely long time. So that actually took a little bit of the pressure off, right? I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, you were in it together at that point. It was 2 years.
Yeah,
both your first time.
And we were gonna do this nasty hardcore shit, and I was all about that, because I shit, that doesn't hurt, you know. I mean, like, after all, it shouldn't, right? And I just remember talking to Grizz, and you know, Grizz, he was one of those guys who I just knew that Grizz was nervous, and he was a ball of emotions. Grizz was the tough guy, right? He was, I'm so
he
tough.
Gets quiet when he's nervous. He gets like stoic,
right?
And that's actually more terrifying,
right? So like, I was just like, okay, Grizz, what do you want to do? What are you going to do? This is what we should do. And he's
shut down completely.
All right, then. I guess we will just go out, and hopefully you remember what's going on. And
the least hardcore guy I've ever met.
Absolutely. That's where I was going with that.
I don't know. I've seen him.
Don't you dare. I was in the middle of a ring wrapped in barbed wire, and that guy he froze up on me. I don't want to hear it.
I remember that too.
That was a different match. I have seen him beat the shit out of a house before.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the ring, man. That's a different deal.
And it wasn't just him, though. I think Mike speared me through a wall in that same house.
We certainly went through the floor. Yeah,
the trailer house. The legs of the couch went through the floor.
Yeah, the trailer house. Going back to my roots, where I was poor, I lived in that trailer house for a long time. Anyway, so
back to that first match. Let's fast. One of my favorite parts about that first match is when you tell the tale about you and Grizz both being in the emergency room at the same time. At the end of that match.
So this is how it worked out. I came out and I had that shopping cart. Remember, I stole a shopping cart.
Rammed it into Grizz.
Yep. And we had put all kinds of stupid shit in there because we had no idea. We had no idea what we were doing. And I had that shopping cart, and I rammed it into him. And the first thing I grabbed was that coat rack. Immediately coat rack.
So I want to set the scene for everybody real quick. So Jay is pushing a shopping cart out to the ring. This shopping cart is full of weapons, just miscellaneous, whatever that he could find.
It's kind of like New Jack in his can of weapons.
That's exactly that's exactly where I got all that stuff from. Was from New Jack.
Yeah.
Kids, don't let New Jack be your role model. It's not a good idea.
So this thing is full of varying weapons, right? And there was a metal coat rack in there that you pulled out.
I pulled it out and I clubbed Grizz with it, and the emotions
over the arm, right? You hit him in the arm.
The emotions were so high that I didn't pull that. I actually hit him, and Grizz's response, "Oh, you crinkled my arm." And I went, oh shit. We're done. Like,
Oh,
done.
that was the opening spot to your
That was
debut match. I
30
mean,
seconds into the match.
I don't even know if it was 30 seconds in because people, if you weren't
intros
there,
were still going. The music
Jay
was still
came
playing.
out the curtain
Yeah.
and Chris
They
ran
hadn't gotten
down
the
the
ring yet.
aisle at him. They hadn't even got in the ring. I bet it was 10 seconds in. Enough time for him to come out the curtain, ram him with the thing, grab it,
But I
and
will
smack him.
never forget, and we still pulled that rib all. Oh, you crinkled my bone, because it was funny. He said it out loud, and I just went, "Oh shit, we're done." Like,
All right.
now what do we do? You know. I learned that you can't swing a coat rack as hard. And
Note to self, people. Note to self.
don't do that. But you know, so we persevered. I'm fully confident. I've never actually physically seen that match. I know that it's out there, but I've never seen it. It was absolute the bloody shit.
The finish was hot though.
Oh, the finish sucked, buddy.
I'm gonna tell you what, that in history endured me to your grandmother as the first time she yelled "fuck you" at me, and that became the whole thing.
If you're just joining us, everybody, we have Jay Behrends with us on a special live streaming episode of Wrestling with Tomorrow. Jay is a former professional wrestler that broke in the business with us, who had an incredible setback during his career. And we're here to talk about the confidence that he had to build at the end of his wrestling career. But before we get there, let's keep pushing along here. So debut match happened. Let's open up this career a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going through it now, and we get to the home spot, right? And I'm like, okay, Grizz, let's go home. And he grabs a chair, right? He's gonna just take out the big fat guy with the chair, right? And he grabs it, and I'm not very smart at this point in time in my career, because this is all brand new to me. But he picks that thing up, and I instantly go, I think that doesn't look right. No, that doesn't look right. And he swung it harder than I swung that coat rack. And he hit me. And I stood there like it was boom. I seen stars. I opened my eyes and immediately felt something warm. And I reached my hand up and I went like this across my face, and my hand was as red as your sweatshirt. And then the pain started coming, and we had an actual like vinyl mat, right? Like that.
The cover of the ring was vinyl, so it got slippery
real quick.
Yeah.
There was
school on there.
Yeah, I bled worse than the fat kid that New Jack cut to shit in the mass transit incident. Like, I lost a lot of blood, and it got to be the point where I was lightheaded, and I was like, we got to go, we got to just wrap it up, and we went home, and I went into the back, and in a time that you're supposed to celebrate because we just did something cool, I remember looking at you and going, I got to go to the doctor. And there was a lady there. She was some kind of nurse. And she was in the back, and she pulled my head down and she goes, oh no. And I went, yeah,
it's always what you want to hear. Yeah.
I go, it's bad, isn't it? She goes, yeah, you're going to, I can't fix this. You have to go to the doctor. And so I don't remember how I got to the hospital, but I remember being in the hospital, and I could hear fucking Kyle talking next door, and I just reached over and I flipped
Grizz.
I just flipped
your
the
opponent.
curtain over.
Yeah, your opponent.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I go, what are you here for? And he goes, oh, my fucking arm hurts.
I can't even with that impression, man. I can't. So let's just set the scene for everybody. Both guys from that same match, both their debut match, are both sitting next to each other in the freaking emergency room because they beat on each other so hard. I mean, there's no other explanation for that. There's no other explanation.
And to your point about the most hardcore guy ever, me and Grizz worked. We worked like 4 or 5 shows, and then I remember we had the scaffold match in Owatonna. Remember that?
Yeah. No. That was in Austin.
Was it Austin?
No, it was in.
No, I
was in
think-
Winona
I'm pretty sure
because
it
the
was
crowd
in
was the crowd was small, wasn't it?
No,
Or was
whatever.
it? Was it Austin?
Whatever.
It was Austin.
We
only
we're
ran the
up-
gimmick shows in Austin.
We're up there. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do this spot, and Grizz goes, "I'm not going off the scaffold." And I said, "The fuck you aren't." And I pushed it.
So okay, let's set the scene again. This is a completely different show. These two guys,
Yeah.
we were going to do something that had never been done in the Midwest before that we knew of, specifically a scaffold match. So we rented this scaffolding from the construction company that went up pretty high, man. I mean, it was,
It was 15 feet at least.
I mean, it was up there, right?
Yeah.
And both Jay and Grizz were like, all right, here's the deal. We're gonna beat on each other. We're gonna get to the top of the scaffold. The person one of us is gonna take a bump off of it. They're gonna be the one that loses the match.
So unstable. Like we were up
well,
there.
yeah. I mean, to be
4 or 5
fair, Jay,
times
you
throughout
weighed
the
almost
day,
500 pounds.
I did. We were way over the weight limit
for sure.
But
I mean, I don't know how else to say. I mean, that's 100%.
I mean, if OSHA would have walked in there and I was standing on top of that, they'd have shut that motherfucker down.
Yeah, OSHA been like, "What's going on in here? You're gonna have a wrestling show."
Yeah. But I just
my
remember,
OSHA impression.
I just remember we had been up on that scaffold about 4 times that throughout the day, and I'm like, "Are you sure? You sure you're good?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the toughest. I'm Grizz. I'm like a grizzly bear." And I'm like, "Okay." And then when it was time to go, he shit his pants. Oh, that actually happened in the match too. We'll get to that later.
That's a different match.
We'll get to that later. And he goes, I can't do this. I can't go. And I literally at that point in time, I was seeing red, and I said, "We are up here. You're going." And I let him go through the tables. And yeah, I mean. And then you guys came up with this hardcore thing. Remember the KOHC, King of Hardcore, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they put the strap on me and all my gear. At that time was
the hardcore title, pal.
It was. And I was very proud of that. I feel that I represented that belt better than anybody else.
For sure. You were the antithesis of that title. I mean, there's no question.
I know a lot of other people had that, but that was to me, that was just part of the deal, right? Like I didn't have a problem doing the job to anybody. I mean, for fuck's sakes, later on in my career, I put over Paco Loco like 4 times, and it is what it is. But
walk us
then
through. Yeah, go ahead.
But then things started to get serious. It really hit me like, hey, we can actually do this. And then we started doing research, and I'm not sure who it was. I'm not sure if it was you or if it was the twins or if it was Shane. It was probably Shane. Shane probably got some backyard Hills, Pennsylvania with Terry Klinger and got wrapped up into the MPW thing.
No, what
go to sleep, boy.
What happened with that is that's why I was asking you earlier if Mantar was on the show. Shane and I had gone to an indie show in Albert Lee at Southwest Junior High, and on that show, one of the matches was Sheriff Johnny Emerald against Shifty.
Sheriff wasn't there when I was there.
Okay, so this particular one was how we met Sheriff and Shifty. Here's the problem with that, though, is this happened about a year, maybe a little over a year before you guys got involved, because that's how we met Terry Fox. They were using Terry Fox's ring for that show. Shane and I actually got introduced to Terry Fox first, and then we got hooked up with him to rent his ring to do a show in Mason City, Iowa, and then we did a show in Austin, Minnesota, both with his ring before we got our own. So that's initially how we met Sheriff and Shifty, was through that particular show.
Yeah. So then you guys start going up there, it's the classic fat guy syndrome, right? Like they didn't want anything to do with me because I was fat, and
Let's
I just
hold
didn't.
on before you do that. Let's get everybody up to speed. What Jay's talking about is we had a very serious group of professional wrestlers that all lived in proximity to each other in Albert Lee, Minnesota.
Albert Lee
Um,
crew.
I mean, there's probably a dozen of us at any given time. This includes the guys over in Austin. I mean, all of us, there's at least a dozen of us that were like dedicated to go and be serious about the wrestling business. What happened is that there was an opportunity for any of us that wanted to start training at a more, I guess, more of advanced level with the folks in the Twin Cities, Sheriff and Shifty, who had a school that we decided, me and a couple of other guys were like, let's go ahead and head up there and give this thing a shot. And so we started doing that. There were just 3 of us that did that in the beginning.
Mhm.
Actually, there was just 2. I joined later because I was gone. But then I joined, and then slowly, like a bunch of us started going along. Shout out to Gidge too. Gidge is in here, and so
Gidge,
he was one of those guys.
That's what I was just reading about the Northbridge Mall. I didn't go to that one.
I was on that one. I remember that so well. I was on that show. I wrestled Sheriff, actually.
Oh, in the backwoods of Pennsylvania.
Nope.
Yeah,
just in the back of a mall in Albert Lee.
In the back of an Oldsmobile, you wrestled him.
Yeah.
So you started, so here's what was going on, Jays. You were doing, you were wrestling AWO, you did some PCW shots down in Nebraska and Iowa, several of those, because you had turned heel, and really we're having a heck of a heel run.
Yeah. So that's really what put me onto the map. Somebody thought it would be a great idea to put me with Nova, and that was just a game changer. Shout out to Matt. I absolutely love that guy. He was a great traveling buddy, and I flat out ripped him off. Like, I stole his gimmick and I ran it better than him.
Did you though?
Well, I'd like to think so. I stole that from Kevin Kruger. But you guys talked about that earlier too, is not knowing your identities. It was just real easy to steal things from other people, and
because what was happening is that was the conversation, is we were stealing from people so that we could put ourselves in their shoes and feel more confident about what we were doing.
Exactly.
And, and we were all doing it in some way.
Yeah. And so Matt had the zebra tights, and I ordered zebra tights too, but I wanted my zebra tights to be a shout out to the Dream, right? When he was the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes in the company, he had the black tights with the yellow polka dots. I wanted to run black and yellow for my tribute to the Dream, because if you weren't a Dream fan, there was something wrong with you. The son of a plumber. And
if you will, baby,
if you will. But I got these things, and they looked nothing like they were supposed to. Go figure. High spots fuck something up. But my boots were exactly what I wanted. They were black and yellow. And so we just put together this big and tasty deal, right? Now, remember, I'm 500 pounds. Nova weighed about 110 pounds, soaking wet.
Wait, 110.
In the beginning, he did.
Well, all right.
In the beginning, he did. He was a twig.
But he's part of Los Guapos.
Yes, yes, the Los Guapos.
Los Guapos.
If that tells you anything, he was. I don't even think he really is Hispanic, but he looked Hispanic, and then somehow he turned into a mestizo, and we started running with all of that stuff. But yeah, so I kicked out his tag team partner, whoever it was, and entered Big and Tasty, and I was not the big one.
You were.
Yeah, the visual aspect of it. But I just remember I used to Nova, you got to stick socks in the front of your tights to make this believable. And he'd find the biggest socks. He probably stole them from Shane at Foot Locker or whatever the hell he worked. And he just made this thing super just huge. And that's the big guy. And me and Nova did a lot of cool stuff. We started going into different places. Somehow we met Troy Peterson, and Troy's big thing was, oh, you're not officially trained, blah, blah, blah. So then I went back to the MPW deal, and Kenny was very, very big into how I actually physically
So
got
this is a
into
wrestler
MPW.
that was known as Cody O'Neill.
Or Chaos,
Mhm.
or the Suntan Superman, or all those other things. I worked him, and we had talked, and he said, I'm gonna get you in. We're gonna come out, and we're gonna make you look gold, and you're gonna get in. And we went out and we put together, for a big little man. And I'm not trying to be biased here, because it's real tough for a big little guy match to tell a good story, because 9 times out of 10 it's lopsided, right? Because the big guy can't do much. And I remember Kenny looked at me and he said, "Take the red belt?" And I said, "Absolutely, let's do it." And we didn't even work on that. It was just a thought.
When you
And
say
we
the
went
red
at
bump, what are we talking about?
the Code Red.
Oh, the Code Red. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you're downplaying a little bit, so I'm going to just step in and say this: you were improving at such an incredibly fast rate at this time in your career. It was like you started, just like anybody else. You kind of start out and you did some AWO, you did some shots in Iowa and Nebraska, and you were really trying to find your way. But once you found your voice as a wrestler, Jay, you began to look at wrestling completely differently as a student. You were as astute as anybody else that I'd ever met in the wrestling business, and you were improving rapidly.
And this was the day that it all changed. Well, not this day. I mean, this day was the Kickstarter. So me and Kenny went out and did this thing, and I remember Kenny called it, and he said, "Code Red, buddy, let's go." And I was like, please don't let me sit on his head. That was the only thing that I was worried about. And that thing went off without a hitch. And I remember coming over with the rotation and taking the hit and putting him over. And I was just so overjoyed, that we actually pulled off, because this was 15 minutes in too. So you got to remember, big guys don't last more than 4 or 5 minutes. And I was already blown up, and I didn't land on his head. And I can't remember who was somebody recorded it. And I remember Kenny rolling over and going, "Thank you." And he took the tape up, and then all of a sudden I was okay. I was good enough to come. And I came up, and I worked out. And fortunately for me, the other big guy at the MPW at that time was Thorf Marius, Eric the Redbeard.
Eric Rowan. Yep.
Yeah. And so I got to work out with somebody that was big enough for me to actually get something good out of it. So kudos to Thor for helping me, and he really did. And this is where wrestling really became real to me. We had been there for 4 or 5 months now at this point in time, and the Saturday shows, right? I was never good enough to be on a Saturday show.
Let's level set with the audience here real quick. Again, welcome everybody. We're trying this live thing here on Facebook as we record our new episode. We're in the studio with us today is Jay Behrends, formerly known as Big Daddy Dolan in the pro wrestling world, who had to fight some tremendous adversity during his career, which he's telling us all about today. Feel free to drop a comment here. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible. Jay, as you were progressing along, again, we were talking about how much you were improving, how fast you were improving. What was the outlook for when you started? You think back to where your mind was at during this time, and you were really, the wrestling thing was really beginning to gain some steam for you. you were like, for me, I had very specific goals I wanted to hit as a wrestler. What were some of the goals that you were shooting for at this point when you started to realize that this wrestling dream might be worth pursuing after all?
Right. So at this point in time in my life, my only focus was to get into MPW. And I'm the classic guy that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And Shifty and Sheriff both said that Big Daddy Dolan would never wrestle at MPW.
And
I
just
just
for everybody knows, it's a now defunct promotion that trained a lot of us out of the Midwest. And Sheriff and Shifty, they ran that promotion. They ran every single Sunday. And that was like of their version of house shows. But the Saturday shows were special. Those were like their versions of pay-per-views. And getting
yeah,
you on one of those shows, Jay, it was hard enough for me to get on those shows. I remember fighting tooth and nail to get on some of those shows.
well, it's my first go round was a Sunday show. I got to work Josie on a Saturday show, and that,
Which, by
and
the
that
way, I
tournament.
love that match. Is that the cake match?
That's the cake match.
I love the cake match.
That's the cake match. That,
And
and
I just want to tell everybody, Jay, so imagine Jay's wrestling a female, right? And she's got a birthday cake, like an actual birthday cake. And Jay is, again, almost 500 pounds. And he's chasing her around the ring trying to get the cake. And she intentionally did it so that she wore him out to the point where he was out of breath, and she pinned him because he was trying to get the cake. And then
no, she didn't pin me. She didn't.
You got counted out. You got counted out. That's what it was. He sat next to that ring and he ate that cake. You sat there and ate that cake.
Absolutely. I mean, the gimmick was real. Like I lived that every time I put on those yellow tights. Like that was me. So we're ramping up here, and I just remember we'd all sit in the stands up there at those shows, and I remember Shifty coming down from the crow's nest, and he looks at me and he says, "You got your gear?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Go get it. It's time to go." And I just
tell me about what happened to your confidence in that moment, because I know that you were somebody who had struggled with self-confidence because of your weight growing up.
Absolutely. So
and now here you are, right?
The work and the time and the effort. I used the fuel of somebody telling me that I wasn't good enough and I couldn't do it and I wouldn't do it to just push and get better and actually pay attention. Randy's eating his pizza rolls.
I'm so distracted by this man, as if he forgets. It's like he knew we were going to record at 7 and couldn't possibly eat at 6 o'clock, and instead he's trying to hide behind the camera and just. Anyway, Jay, you were saying.
So yeah, and that in that moment, that's when it became real. I knew I had done everything in my power, and that's one of the things that I truly believe is control what you can control, and don't worry about the rest. And at that point in time, I was controlling my destiny. I was driving for nothing. Like there were times where I'd get to MPW and they wouldn't even let me in the ring, yet I still kept showing up. And okay, so now it's go time. I go up, I'm getting dressed, and at this point in time, I don't even know what I'm doing, right? Like there's been no communication other than you got your gear. And I remember putting my boots on, and Delgado slides over next to me and he goes, "Okay, it's me and you tonight. What are we gonna do?" And I went, "Oh, I get to work Pretty Boy," who I ended up ripping stuff off from him too, because I really like Miguel. There's controversy with Miguel, but that doesn't flow into my world. And I told Miguel, well, I'm just gonna listen. You tell me you put this together because I don't want to make you look bad. That was what I was worried about, making him look bad. And he said, "Fine, we'll just call this shit on the fly." And at that point in time, I started shitting my pants. Like I'm not at that level. Like this is go time, and I'm not that experienced. But we went down, and and we tore the house down. Like Delgado comes to the ring first, and then when I came down the crow's nest down the steps, like that place was small. It was at first they didn't know what to expect out of this guy, and the minute I took my shirt off, like that was the be all end all, right? And me and Miguel worked. I think it was 9, maybe 10 minutes, and we come to the finish, and Miguel unfortunately screwed the finish. It wasn't me. It wasn't the backyard wrestler who had no idea what he was doing. It was the trained professional that screwed the finish up. I was able to make it not look so bad after I had to pick him up off the mat, because it was a bump off the top rope, and I don't know what he was doing because I wasn't even remotely in that hemisphere. I was on the other side of the ring, and it is what it is. We got back up to the locker room upstairs, and I was met by Shifty. And Shifty put his arm around me, and he said, "That's a hell of a debut." And I said, well, thank you. And he spun around and he said, "Now, Delgado, how are you going to let a yarder outwork you?" And that always sat in the back of my brain. Whether or not he meant it, whether or not it was true, but I wanted to believe that was true. And I carried those words with me the next 4 years.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. He did mean it, because he Shifty looked at all of us like that. He called me a yarder to my face the last time I saw him. So, Shifty, if you're out there, fuck you. All right. How's your career doing? All right. Also, so right now, Jay, you're moving, and you are working the independent circuit. You are getting booked. You and your health is keeping up.
That
Let's talk
was
about
the weirdest thing. I was the abnormal fat guy, right? I didn't have diabetes. I didn't have any kind of health problems. Like I
right.
said, and Mike's frozen again. I was
I'm
always big.
frozen.
You're unfrozen now. So it's not like I just became big overnight. I was always big. So it was something that was everyday life for me, and that's what really helped me out is I was used to that. I was used to the limited mobility. I never had all that flippy flop stuff like the twins.
Yeah.
I never had that option.
Well, it wouldn't have
But
been right if you were doing it anyway. I mean, at that size, I mean,
I
you wouldn't
drop kicked Shane in the face. Remember that?
have. Let's talk about now. You wrestled for 7 years, if I'm doing the math correctly.
5.
5. It was 5 years.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that last year that you were in the business. Walk us all the way up to the end.
Man. So the last year, it really blew up. You know, I got to work some good guys. You know, Thorf Merritt and myself did a program that ended in the body slam match. But I was really starting to take or be noticed by a lot of different things. I started working for Terry Fox. I started doing you know, well, there was the Eli deal. Eli, you know, after MPW folded up, you know, I worked for Eli at NeoPro, and then that deal kind of cultivated there, and then it was Johnson's deal, and John used me all the time. And here's another great story, and this is a shout out to Playboy Pete Huge. God rest his soul. I remember we were in Lonsdale, and Austin Aries was there, and Austin Aries, he didn't like me because I was fat. And I remember Austin Aries I was working Hoofer that night, which was another great guy to work. What was Big Brody Hoofer? He that was a good night too. But he was saying just bad shit about how I didn't belong in that locker room because I was fat. And I remember Pete sat forward and he leaned in and he said, "Hey, I get it. You're a big superstar. But that boy comes here and he gives his ass every show. He's one of us. And if you got a problem with him, you got a problem with me. That was amazing. And I couldn't thank Pete enough. Another one gone too soon.
Yeah, I miss Pete a lot. He's good people.
Yeah, he's. In fact, I just watched you and Pete this morning. So after that turned up, Ricky Spraggs, a guy from PCW, who had left PCW and he went down to OVW, and he had been working through the system down there. And
they were still a farm team at that point too. They were still they were tied to the WWE at that point.
Yeah, and he was learning, honing his stuff, and whatever happened, I don't know the exact story. I just know that he ended up coming home, and he had gotten together with me, and he was like, "Hey, I got some contacts out in the Rocky Mountain area. We should go run this." And I'm like, "No, let's go. Let's get her done." And that promotion ended up being NWA Rocky Mountain. Other than just the name, I will tell you that it wasn't a very good ran program, but they paid well, and we didn't have to do shit. Like we worked from South Dakota to Utah, Salt Lake City, did all kinds of cool stuff out there. They had an indoor football team in Rapid City at that time. It was called the Rapid City Red Dogs. They absolutely loved the Dolan gimmick. I got to do some cool stuff with the Red Dogs. I was on their promo stuff. So wrestling was big at this point in time. And it was October, I think it was like the 15th or the 20th. I had finally gotten a call from Bill Behrends, not any relation to me. But Bill ran Wildside in Florida, and we were going to go to Florida. Like this was our IWA stuff. Like when you guys were going down to Chicago and doing all that cool stuff, this was our deal.
When you say our, who was with you? Who's on these trips?
Me and Ricky.
Okay,
me and Wyatt. We were we had worked that NWA territory over there a lot.
Sure.
I remember that first NWA show. I had to work Clay Heckert. Shout out to Clay. I remember sitting in the back, and this is how much people actually started trusting me. And this was probably one of the biggest shows that I ever wrestled on. Not that Salt Lake City wasn't small, but I remember sitting in the back. Jason Ray was there. A couple of the true NWO guys were there, and the promoter guy, I can't even tell you his name anymore because I don't, but he ran the Repo Man gimmick. No, it wasn't Barry Darso. He flat out ripped it off. But I remember he come back to the locker room, and he's in the Repo Man gear, and he talks like this, right? And this is pre-show, and he comes back and he says, "Hey, where's Dolan?" And I said, "I'm over here." And he goes, "All right, Dolan, you got 15 minutes. You're going out. You're starting the show." And I went, "Serious? Like, I'm not ready." And he's like, "You better get ready, kid." So I quick got dressed, and I remember I walked out to the curtain, and this was my first real, I won't say real because I'm not going to take anything away from anything else, but this was my first professional entrance. Like they did it right? Like they had everything all cool. And I remember peeling back the curtain, and I took a look. And I've never been scared shitless until that day. I was scared shitless. There were 6,500 people in the Corn Palace. Like they had sold that place out. And I gotta go out, and I gotta cut a promo to start this show. And the guy that they used for their promo guy, like, he was Elvis Presley's rodeo. The guy looked like he was dead. He looked like he was a mummy.
Did you call him Elvis's rodeo? Is that what you said? What the fuck?
Roadie. He was Elvis's roadie. He was
Okay.
Elvis's roadie, and he had
rode him a little.
I didn't
He
know
had
what was
this-
happening. I didn't know
he
what
had
was
this
happening.
he had this big grand piano ring, and it covered all of his fingers, and he showed that to me, and it was inscribed by Elvis, and the guy was just he was cool, but he just looked like he was dead. He looked like he was 85 years old and already mummified. And so the I'm Too Sexy music hits, and I come through that curtain, and
I'm too sexy for my love.
Butter
too
the
sexy
bread.
for my love. Love's going to leave.
thanks Nova for that.
If you could stop singing before everybody else leaves, that would be probably,
I'm not even going to charge you for that one. That one's on the house.
And I went to the ring, and I crawled into the ring, and that was the only thing that went through my mind is how do I draw heat? How do I piss these people off? How do I put myself on the map here? And music's still going. I ripped my shirt off, which absolutely you want cheap heat.
There's heat.
If you're fat and you got
fat
bigger
guy and come out
and you
and
got
act like you're not.
you got bigger titties than half the girls in that building, use it. And believe me, I did. And and I just ate those people up. And
Literally.
they all knew this guy too, because this guy was from the area. So of course, after I ripped on all the women, I started going to town on this roadie guy, and it was great. And then and then me and Clay were second of the night. I love that second spot, but whatever is what it is. Me and Clay went out, and me and Clay actually ripped that house down. Like Clay did all of his little flippy floppy high flying bullshit, and then I pummeled him, and I put Clay over that night. Like my very first match in the NWA was taking the dub to the Inferno Kid, the homosexual version of the Inferno Kid. Didn't bother me. I didn't care.
Jay, was that better or worse than when he gave Tracy a kiss?
Oh,
So this guy that they're talking about
Oh my
legitimately
God.
kissed Jay's wife.
he did.
At a show. No, I should say at a
During
show.
a show. He
Yeah,
wasn't
at a show.
really
At a
up-
show.
He wasn't up
You know-
to nothing. He just
No, yeah, he wasn't like trying to take my wife. He was drawing heat, and he couldn't have picked a better lady to do it to get the heat.
it's true.
But again, that was all part of knowing your audience. And anyway, so then after that, that's when me and Ricky really blew up, and we started going all the way out to Salt Lake City. And that's when wrestling became real, because we had to actually put thought into what we were doing. We couldn't just drive all the way out to Salt Lake City for one show. It wouldn't have made sense, because they didn't pay that well. So we had to do research and find different shows on the way out. And of course, they had given us these cool little NWA cards too, like, and it had our names on it and all this other stuff. So like we use that to our advantage. Like we'd go to these yard shows, and they'd be like, "Well, can you work this guy?" And I said, "I can work anybody you want, but I'm not doing the job tonight. I'm with the NWA."
Big time.
Right.
Yep.
And we'd get paid on a Friday night, and then we'd go out, we'd do that show on a Saturday, and then we'd come back and we tried to catch another one on the way back. And the merchandise, this is where your money is when you're a wrestler. It's not in anything else. And I'll be goddamned if a guy by the name of Chad in like Sioux City, Iowa, he printed a ton of merchandise for me and never asked me for a goddamn thing. And and I sold it. I sold 8x10s, made all that money. And then we were coming to the end, right? So again, Bill Behrends, me and Ricky were gonna go out to Bill. This was Ricky. Ricky carried all the heavy lifting on that, because Ricky had been in OVW, and Ricky had the name, right? But we were going out there at the end of October. And October 5th is a day that absolutely changed my life.
What year is this? This is 2005.
2005. Now let's talk about the confidence to this point. The confidence is now at an all-time high. Like, I have never been more confident in anything that I could ever have done in my life. At this point in time, I'm married. I got kids. I got a good job. I got a great traveling partner. We are doing all kinds of shit right. And this is, remind you, I was a poor kid. I ate the government cheese. This was the best part of my life. Like, we were finally doing things. The professional wrestling dream was real, and we were living it. And my wife was very supportive of it, and she was okay. She would come with us half the time. Like her and my infant daughter were traveling with me at points in time, living the lifestyle. And that was abnormal, right? Wrestlers didn't bring their wives. They didn't bring their girlfriends. They didn't do any of that stuff. But this is what I needed to do to keep my family solid or well. Right. And Katrina had just happened. There was this hurricane relief ride. I was a big Harley guy, right? I had a Harley. In fact, one of my favorite pictures that I still have, it's actually hanging on my wall in there, is me and Ashley at your wedding.
Yeah, my little sister.
She's riding on the back of my bike, and I had given her a ride that day, and it was great. But there's Bergdale's organizes this big fundraising ride, and 85 bikes set out that morning. It was a very cold, windy October day. We left Bergdale's at 8:00 in the morning, and we made it to New Richland. So to put that in perspective, that's 15 miles northwest of Albert Lee. We'd only been riding
where the ride started. I mean, you weren't very far into the ride.
No, we had only been riding for 45 minutes. And I remember I was on the inside. I always had to ride on the inside because, believe it or not, my bike was super loud, obnoxious, because I was super loud and obnoxious. So I always had to ride on the outside. I could never ride on the inside. And so 85 bikes in a march heading out, and a semi was coming at us. And again, cold, windy October day. And we were going through the Eskers just north of New Richland. And he had gotten pushed by the wind. Don't blame this guy for it, right? I was a truck driver too. This shit happens. Bikes checked up in front. Boom, 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 boom. There was nowhere for me to go. I literally thought, I'm just going to put this in the ditch and I'll just ride it out. I remember hitting the ditch. I remember the weeds whacking off my legs. And I remember going, fuck, I got this. Everything is great. And then I woke up.
So what happened to the bike during that? So you go down into the ditch. Walk us through what actually happened in that moment.
So I hit the ditch. It is way overgrown with weeds.
Because you're out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you're essentially out in the sticks, man. Yeah,
kind of. Yep. And so I hit the ditch, and my wife behind me this entire time on her own bike. She is got a front row seat to this whole shit show. Like, she sees this firsthand. She said I was in the ditch for probably 45 seconds, a minute. Seemed like it was an eternity to me. And all of a sudden the bike literally went like this, like it's going, and there was a PVC pipe, and I hit it with the front tire, and it went whoosh, and it launched me over the handlebars. The bike came with me, and she said I did about 6 or 7 barrel rolls. I like to say I was doing moonsaults. I was practicing my moonsaults that day, but I I rolled through the air, and when I landed, I landed on this part of my face, right? So if you can imagine, I hit like this, and my body comes over. You're not
So
supposed to
it's
bend
called a
that.
scorpion. If you guys are familiar with the
Kind of.
scorpion pose, Jay's talking. He did the scorpion.
You're not supposed to bend like that.
That's
And
true.
and again, I was 500 pounds. But I had a lot of shit working for me that day. Um, my sweatshirt that I was wearing, believe me, big enough that you could have fucking stuffed new gun or Gunday or whatever inside it. The whole country, you could have stuck that in my sweatshirt. Because there was a lot of material there, but it had balled up as I was flipping through the air, and it ended up right here. So it made a neck brace. Yes, yeah. It made a neck brace essentially, and that is the only reason that I believe I didn't die, because I didn't break my neck. However, I did break my T1, 2, 3, 4, and I had a burst fracture of my 5. And I did not know that at this point in time, right? So I wake up to the EMTs in my face trying to get me mouth to mouth because I was dead. Like I was lifeless. They bring me back to life at this time, and that's a whole different spiritual side of it. I don't want to get into that unless you really want to get into that, but all I can say is God.
Go ahead, man.
God is real. Whether or not you choose to believe, you can believe in whatever you want. I'm just going to say from my experience, I know God's real because I was there.
I know that like after you had that accident, you had the surgeries to get well. It was a long recovery road for you. I remember I went to your house after you had gotten out of the hospital, and we were going to just hang out and watch a movie or something. And there'd been an enormous amount of work done to your house just so that you could access it appropriately.
Yeah, it was
and just to move around.
My wife, she took upon herself to make it functional. So I'm paralyzed. Like I wake up to the EMT and I go to try to get up, and I can only move my arms and my upper body. And so I'm trying to get up, and I just remember yelling at my wife. I'm like, "Is my fucking leg broken?" And she says, "It doesn't look broken." And I'm like, "I can't fucking move my legs." And I'm just panicked at this point in time, right? Because I can't get up. I can't do. They call in the helicopter. Doesn't work for me though because I'm too big. So I can't get into the bird at this point in time. So I have to get in the ambulance, and I get rushed all the way over to Rochester. And let me tell you something. Ambulances are not very comfortable to begin with, especially when you're going super fast. But we get over there. I lay in that hospital bed. I can't move my legs. Life is over at this point in time, right? Like I'm paralyzed. I just flipped the script on my wife. We got 2 kids at this time. Josh is just 11 months old, or he turns 1 in 22 days, and Lainey's 2, and so she worked a full-time job. She was the strongest individual throughout this whole time, and I'm very thankful for her. But they come in and they're like, "All right, this is the deal. This is why you can't move your legs. Your T5 opened up, your spinal cord slid in, it closed around it. It's cutting all the circulation off. We can fix this." Maybe. What the fuck does maybe mean? Well, it's a great deal of surgery, and we were talking 15, 16 hours. You're going to have all these transfusions. There's a good chance that you're not going to make it. And me and my wife conversated, and I know my wife only said yes because I said yes, because she was not keen on it. She'd rather have 3 kids than not have me around, period. But I was very selfish at that point in time, and I said my life's already over. Like if they can't fix this, you're gonna be unhappy. Like there's no way you're gonna take care of a 500-pound piece of shit. And I was thinking of my wife, not thinking of my wife, right? Like, so anyway, we go through the surgery, 14 hours and 33 minutes. And I remember waking up to a lady poking my toes. And that's how I woke up. Mind you, I haven't been able to feel my toes for 9 days. I was paralyzed for 9 days.
You know how hard it was for us to get you out of the hospital into that strip club so that stripper could poke at your toes like that? That was hard.
You guys did something cool for me too. Like when I'm laying in that hospital, you know, doing all that good stuff. You guys are working behind the scenes, putting on the show, getting Perry Saturn, doing all that cool stuff. But anyway, so I wake up to her poking my toes. I can feel that shit, and I'm like, oh man, like, wow, here life starts again. But I had been paralyzed for 9 days, so I did not have the motor skills. Believe me, if you don't use that shit, it's gone. It's the quickest thing to go. I couldn't do simple chores. I couldn't write. I couldn't walk. I couldn't wipe my own ass. You know how humiliating it is to have your wife wipe your ass?
Hey, real quick, were you scared?
I was petrified. Petrified.
I mean, I'm talking after the surgery. Here you are on the mend.
Petrified. I had been at the all-time high of my confidence, and I knew that life wasn't going to be the same. Essentially, I needed to start over, and it that is the toughest part of the whole immediate emotions that go with this. But then once you actually sit down and realize the good things, and this is a part of the confidence. This is we'll get to that when it's time. But like I said, my kid's birthday is coming up, right? He's gonna be 1, and I wasn't going to celebrate his first birthday in a hospital bed. I just wasn't. We did, but at my house, because my wife redid all my house and I had a hospital bed there. But they allow you 1 hour a day to work with somebody, to figure out how to walk again, how to figure out how to write. And I used my kids, like all the motor skills that you don't have. You know, you've seen those little kids pick up these little things and try to put these shapes into these holes and stuff. I couldn't even do that. Like it was, but my kids they helped me play those games. As soon as I could walk, I walked, and I just kept walking, and I kept walking, and I actually overwalked. If you look at the scar on my back, it's so much wider up top because I was overdoing it, and it was starting to open up.
I think, but when I remember specifically, like you're laid up, and you know we're all pretty scared for you. But here's the other thing you need to know about what everybody was kind of thinking. When I say everybody, I'm talking about the wrestling crew. We all knew how serious this whole thing was going to be for you. I was, and that's why I was coming by your place. And I'll never forget this day. Jay and I were just sitting around, and he showed me the movie Saw. I hadn't seen it yet. It hadn't been out very long. Jay's like, "Oh man, you got to see this movie." So we sat, we hung out, we watched Saw that day. Yeah. But here's the thing: I don't know that if you know this or not. We all, once you made it out of the surgery, we all knew that you were going to recover, just because of who you are. Mm-hmm. The confidence thing for you was never an issue, especially after you got rocking and rolling in the wrestling business. I knew that it was going to hammer on you in terms of not being able to wrestle ever again. We all knew that was the thing, right? Is that you were having the surgery, wrestling was completely out of the picture and done.
I tried.
I know there were other ways that you were trying to get involved and all that stuff. And sometimes that's worse.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's worse. And
Absolutely. I remember it was a full year. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't have been able to do it without my friends, right? Jed was a huge part of that. Kevin and all of you guys that didn't forget about me. Life had just flipped up. The things that I had done for the last 5 years, the people that I was hanging out with, I couldn't do that anymore, and I couldn't even go hang out with them. So you guys came to me, and that really lifted the spirits. But the confidence, it just wasn't there anymore. I couldn't work. I was essentially back to my days of my younger years where I was poor again. I couldn't collect a paycheck. I couldn't do anything. Had to live very tight on a lot of things. And I just kept pushing, right? I learned at that point in time that no matter how shitty life is, it can always be worse. And it really could have been worse. So I started saying to myself, every time I wanted to bitch and complain about how tough life was, I just told myself 3 things that I was thankful for. 3 things that were worth living. And I would have that conversation with myself a lot because I wanted to quit. I really did. It was the hardest point in my life. And I hope that nobody ever has to experience any of that because it's just not good. But once I was back, right? So I started to becoming more mobile because I just had to, right? I had to get back to work. I had to take care of my kids. That's when Pro Wrestling Rush started coming around. Like it was still there. It was there before that. But I just remember, I still had open wounds from the surgeries. And I remember going up to one of the shows in Mankato, and Tracy drops me off and she says, "Don't do anything stupid." And I'm like, "I won't." And I had that incision on the front side, remember? And I had that Tegaderm on, and we were fucking around doing things that we shouldn't have been. And all of a sudden I started bleeding, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" And like it just kept bubbling out because it was filling with blood. And I'm like,
oh hell no, Jay.
I know. You guys. So I call my wife and I'm like, "Hey, yeah, something's wrong
honey,
here."
Guess what?
So she comes.
My stomach's bubbling out.
Yep.
My insides are on my outside.
And she picks me up and we hightail it back. She gets pulled over, got her out of a speeding ticket. I remember the trooper walks up and he goes, "You're going a little fast." And I just went, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're bleeding." And I was like, "Yeah,
correct.
I got to get to the hospital." But anyway, so then we go back, and the dream is still there, right? Like I've just now beat a lot of things, right? I couldn't walk. Here I am walking. I can do this. I can do that. Son of a bitch, we're gonna wrestle again. We're gonna do it. And I went with you, Randy. We went to PCW, and they booked me with Jake Holmes. Like they were like, "Can you do this?" And I'm like, "We're gonna fucking find out." And I remember working out with Jake in the beginning, and Jake was more than aware of the situation, and it was time for the first bump, and I took that bump, and I knew that it was not good, and we couldn't do this, and I remember
you even tried it. I can't believe you even tried it.
I apologized to Jake. I said, "Jake, I can't do this. We gotta go home."
Yeah.
And I put over Jake Holmes that night, and that was it. That was the last time that I tried to wrestle. Now,
If you're just joining us, folks, we're sitting here having a conversation with Jay Behrends. This is our first live stream straight to Facebook. Feel free to drop a comment, and we'll try to get to your questions as we go. Jay is one of these people that we've talked about on the pod several times. Right now, we're just winding down talking about his wrestling career. Jay had a very stellar wrestling career, off to a great start. Unfortunately, it was cut short due to a really, really tragic motorcycle accident. And we're at the point now where I need everybody to understand, Jay had open spine surgery. I mean, he was filleted apart. And he's sitting here talking about taking a bump, 18 months later, on his back, weighing over 400 pounds. I didn't know you did that, Jay. You need to smack you around a little bit for that one.
Although I think though, Jay, man, if you wouldn't have done it, in your head, you'd still regret and wonder if you could have.
Absolutely. I'd have had all that regret.
If there was any value to it.
Yeah,
you know.
that was it. But that's when wrestling changed for me. That's when I became angry. That's when I became fuck wrestling, and I didn't go to a show. I just cut wrestling out of my life, and we didn't talk about wrestling in my house, and I feel like I did my kids I let my kids down because we didn't watch wrestling anymore. They had no idea what was going on, and I just was dead set against it.
But see, let's talk about that real quick, because I know why you did that. It's the exact same. So when I retired, it was like everybody gets taught, like, when something's bad for you, you need to quit smoking, or you need to eat better. Like, you always need to quit something, right? Mm-hmm. So like Randy and I've talked about this, but like when I left wrestling, and it sounds like maybe it's the same for you. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when I left, I quit everything cold turkey. I stopped watching it. I distanced myself from a lot of the guys that I knew in the wrestling business, because it hurt me so much to know that I couldn't do it anymore, and I needed to start over. And I think you were in the same vein.
That's exactly what it was. I mean, up until that point, we would talk daily, right, Mike?
Yeah.
And there just was no more Jay, and I
we went years without speaking, me and you.
Yeah.
And not because we were pissed at each other, just because everything changed.
You guys were still living the dream. You guys were still pushing on, and I was very selfish when it came to that aspect of it. And first of all, I'm sorry that I wasn't there to support you guys through your journeys, because you guys were doing cool shit, and I should have been a part of that in some way, shape, or form. But again, life was different at this point in time, and I had to figure out who I was and how life was going to be different. And trust me, the three things that I was thankful for, I had to remind myself every day, I'm thankful for Josh, Laney, and my wife. And those really were the driving points to keep on and keep going. And then there was a wrench in there, I think it was 2007. It was a lot of work. Mind you, I didn't, I still couldn't do a lot of things, and I chose to do not a lot of things. And Tracy had enough, right? She came home with divorce papers one day because she just wasn't in the state of mind to have 3 toddlers. And I was worried about that to begin with. And so I moved in with my uncle, lived there for 6 months. And it was just like being paralyzed again. And we're just 2 years past all that stuff. And I knew that I wasn't ready to quit. And the whole shifty sheriff thing came back. We're not going to be married anymore. That's what she told me. I wasn't going to be a professional wrestler for MPW either. And by God, I didn't quit. And here we are. 24 years later. Still kicking and screaming at each other. Surprised she hasn't killed me. But confidence. I had to learn how to be a husband again. I had to learn how to show affection to my wife because, I just took it for granted, right? And it was tough. But again, I'm not one to let anybody feel sorry for me. I guess that's my biggest pet peeve is everybody wants to have a pity party. And I don't think you guys even knew that story. I don't think you guys knew how serious my marriage was done. It's not something that we talked about. It's not something that was knowledge to anybody. We talk about it all the time now because we're comfortable and we're way past that point. But I just was not in a good place in my life, and I didn't have confidence. Like, I was scared of everything. Like, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to do shit, and I had to work on that. And fast forward to where we are now. I got to hang out with you not long ago. First time in years. Like, yeah, I went to your show up there, and that was the first wrestling show that I had gone to other than the Owatonna free show thing. And I didn't go there just for that. But God damn it, I bought a ticket to a wrestling show for the first time in 20 years. And I went, and I got to be a part of that. And I got to hang out with you, right? And I got to be there for something that I should have been there for 20 years prior. But it just made me feel good. And
Dude, with you not being around, and I'm sure Mike feels that way, but I can't speak for him. But with you not being around, it was like a piece of a puzzle that was missing. With you fixing yourself, learning to live again, all that stuff, but being gone, there was like a piece of us, almost like of our foundation that wasn't there. Like, it was there, like we knew where it was, but it just wasn't in place.
Yeah, the thing was,
So it was a fucking blessing to have you there.
For sure. I think that, everybody goes through all kinds of changes as they get older, right? And when there's a huge setback involved, you have to take 9 steps back and start to reevaluate what's really important.
You got to pivot.
All three of us have had to do that at some point. We've had to rebuild, right? And so the beauty of like whenever you have like really close friends, like the three of us, and I'll give you an example. It was just like 10 days ago, Bree and I went to the Mall of America. We went to the comedy cafe or whatever they call it there to watch a stand-up comedian, right? And right by there was the Mall of America Theater. And I kid you not, every single time I go by the Mall of America Theater, I think of you guys, because that's where, when we were coming up in the wrestling business, we did everything together. We drove all the way up to the Twin Cities from a 2-hour drive to go watch Beyond the Mat at the Mall of America movie theater. You know what I'm saying? So I think like you guys and stuff all the time. Now, again, life happens, gets in the way. But when the three of us got back together for the Lucha Union show here just this last November, and we were just hanging out like we hadn't been apart for a long period of time, like
it's
like
time stood still. And
it's unbelievable.
Again.
It's unbelievable.
Really that day, I remember calling you and ribbing you just like old times. Like, hey, like
sit in the truck.
Yeah, sitting in a truck, sitting in front of the arena, like just ribbing the shit out of you. And then you showed up, and when we opened those doors, and when I walked into that building, that was one of the most emotional times, because that's where it all started for me. Like,
fucking homecoming, man, for sure. It's
and
like that. Oh man.
and then I knew it was okay. I knew that where I had started with the people I had started 25 years later, that was my closure.
Yeah, that building's very special.
That was my closure. And I don't want to say that I have regrets. I don't live by regrets, but I do regret stepping away from you guys and being a shitty friend, because I absolutely loved and adored all of you guys, and your families too. I cried when you were talking about Papa G earlier today, but that man was something else. He always treated me with kindness. He never once made me feel shitty.
He's talking about my father. Just so everybody knows, he's talking about my dad, who's been deceased since 2001.
Papa G. G.
He was special. He was a special part of the AWO.
But what we had was something special. A lot of guys don't get that. It was more than just kids trying to be wrestlers. It was family. There was a lot of family involved. And I shit on it. After my dream was taken from me, I just couldn't do it anymore. And I'm sorry, boys. Every single one of you, I'm sorry. And I, coming to see you in your return match, I had gotten a message or something. Lainey showed me a message. She's like, Shane's here. And I was like, not going to talk to Shane at all. Like, I'm way past Shane. And the first time I seen Shane, and he came over and he tried to hump my leg, like
as Shane does.
Yeah. I was like, God, I actually missed Shane. And it came full circle. And then you invited me down to hang out at Lucha Union, and
dude,
life is full circle right now. It is at a point where I worked my ass off. Nobody gave me anything for free. I was knocked down, got back up, and I was knocked down again. And I'm finally to a point in my life that I will say that I have built, because accountability is everything. And a lot of people think that it's okay to make choices and do things and not have any kind of repercussions. But every choice I made had a repercussion. And I had to learn from my mistakes. And I will never treat you guys or any one of my friends like that ever again. It's just that's not me. And confidence, I have it all back. Like,
well, good, because that's my next question for you. What we have right now, Jay, is an opportunity, because there are people out there, they're going to watch this, listen to this, they're kind of leaning in to understand what it is, because for the setbacks you've talked about would have legitimately killed some people. What I want to know from you, if you think about going back in the wrestling business, we're taught to speak in sound bites, so use that knowledge for what I'm about to ask you. Somebody's sitting out there right now. They're going through an incredible setback. They cannot see that light. They can't even begin to look at the tunnel to see the light at the end of the tunnel. They don't know what is going to happen next. Their confidence is certainly at its lowest. What advice do you have for them?
Normally, I would tell you that I'm not the guy to take advice from because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. But I've been here, I've lived it. What you need to do is you need to control what you can control and not worry about the rest. Somebody is always going to be there saying negative things. But if you want it bad enough, if you want it more than life itself, you put the time in, you hone your craft. It's like this. Life is a notebook. In your notebook, you have pages that you've already written. You can't go back. You can't take a whiteout pen. You can't change that story. Sometimes that story is great. Sometimes that story is not so great. You can't control that. It's already written. It's already done. What you can control is the next page. Just turn the page, pick up the pen, and write a new story. Hey, the story may not make sense as you start writing, but it will as long as you give it your all. And that's it. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to be willing to make mistakes and learn from them. Because the day you stop learning, the day you stop getting better, is the day you stop living. And you can't stop living until God says it's time to come home. You got to write your own story. It doesn't matter what random guy A, random guy B, or hell, even random guy C says about you. Don't dwell on anything that you can't control, because what happens is you begin to build up thoughts, you build up anxiety, and that shit will kill you. If you sit and stew in your own mind about what somebody said about you, that will kill you faster than life itself. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Control what you can. But you got to be accountable.
Yeah.
Well, we need to end on a happy note, and I can't think of what. So Randy and I are going to take the floor on this one. Randy, and if you don't have a story, I would be surprised. But I want you, and I'm going to tell mine too, because I think that there's enough people watching this right now where we could use a couple of laughs. Jay dumped a little bit of wisdom on us, if you will, and now it is time for a couple of laughs, as we typically do. Randy, tell me your favorite Jay story.
Oh no!
Oh, sweet Christ!
Well, what?
Oh,
By now, make sure that Jay ain't going to jail.
Like, I know a couple. I'm gonna tell you a couple. Little, see, there's some things that I've been.
Tell us one. We got time for one story.
Oh, you are not hijacking me, Holmes. I wrote down 5 things on here that I need to talk about. Okay. They need to be covered in this. If you're going to have a Jay episode, then damn it, we're going to do it correctly.
Okay. Okay, that's fair.
Fuck you, Roman Reigns, because Jay cocked his arm and gave chops way before you did the Superman punch. So fucking, that's 100% true.
Yeah, they were pretty good ones.
Jay, I want you to know, through this all the years and stuff, you don't owe me any sort of apology. You needed to fix yourself. You needed to come back around, keep your family together. Don't discount how much that I miss you, because I certainly did, but you don't owe me anything. It makes me happy to see you back around the way that you are. Okay. You don't owe me a fucking thing. You never have, and you never will. But I still got that fish that your grandmother gave me. It's in my closet. I still got that fish. Now, you're not going to get this, Mike, because nobody would fucking get this except for me and his mom and his grandma. But at Jay's old house in Albert Lee, he lived there with those two and his two dogs, Joey and Waldo, right? They had this giant, hideous, fucking like catfish thing with long whiskers. It was a giant like body pillow size fish.
It was like Billy the Bass or some shit.
It was fucking. It's probably 3 feet long.
Yeah,
and it's the most hideous damn stuffed animal ever.
And it's more annoying than Shane when Shane is drunk.
And his grandma gave that to me, and I still have it at my house.
Wow.
100 fucking %. That's how much that time, that I met those guys. And, his grandmother too, she fucking loved me. I know she did. And she called me Rip Snorter.
Yeah, she did.
She would call me that
goddamn gator.
Fuck you. Yeah. Oh yeah. But I knew anytime that I went in that house that it was special for them. It wasn't just special for me to be there. And there's few places in this life where you get to go, and that's how it is.
That's true.
But yeah, I still have that fish. Jay, where in the hell did you do that mic work where you said, because I'm the fucking man of the hour? Because I celebrate that shit, and Mike, I don't think he knows where it came from, and I can't think of it myself.
Jay said it was
here. It was here. It was right here at the Armory.
Armory show.
Yeah. It
was that was old school villain era, right? So, right?
Yeah, it was. It was right when I had come back to Albert Lee as a heel for the first time.
You were doing like Ric Flair stuff, right?
Yeah. When I ripped off Ric Flair's butterfly black robe, remember?
Yeah.
Because I'm his most fucking man of the hour.
Remember. Yeah. And as soon as I said it, I remember in my brain going, "Oh fuck, that's not good." But I wasn't the only one. I mean, I'd learned from Kenny, and Kenny used to swear all the time,
Oh yeah. Well, Mike.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never swore my promo.
See, there's mic work and there's mic work.
I'm as honest as the day is long.
So, okay.
I would have never touched on the mic.
The last little snippet, and this will be my favorite story that you wanted of Jay. And surprisingly, it's not a crude thing and it's not a wrestling thing. We were outside of his Aunt Cheryl's house in Albert Lee, Cheryl and Russ and his cousins. And I don't recall why we were there, but I was there. Jay was there. I believe Grizz was there. And Bitch Tits Matt was there, of course, because he lived there. But I think it was one of his friends that was fucking with Jay. Like, you fat fuck, you fucking fat
I know this
piece of shit.
Oh, I can't wait.
And Jay fucking ran after him in a pair of sandals and caught the fucker because he slipped in the grass. He slapped the fuck out of him with a sandal. And that is why you don't pick on somebody that's bigger than you. Oh, you can never catch me. Oh, okay, until you do, and you get the shit beat out of you with a fucking sandal. That
keep in
I
mind,
would never ever
Jay's
forget
500 pounds and barefoot. Slapping somebody with this fucking slide. Oh,
dude, it probably 15, 20 slaps with that fucker too. It's just whap, 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 whap. I bet you the fucker never did it again. I bet he never did it again.
I was a goddamn gazelle.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
So that is
a good Jay story.
My all-time favorite stories is poetic justice for some fucker that thought he was cute.
I love it. Here's my favorite Jay story. Randy, what did you have anything else? I know you had a list. Sorry, I want you to hit it. Get that list.
Oh, I gotta eat this real quick while you're.
Yeah, eat your fucking bagel bites. So here's my favorite Jay story. Jay, the minute I start talking about this, you're gonna know exactly. You probably already know the story I'm gonna tell. We had gone to a Ring of Honor show in Chicago.
Oh,
and we were,
shit.
Yep. I'm telling that story.
Shit.
So it's me, a couple other guys, Jay. We all basically just pile into a car and head out to Chicago.
It was
out
me,
of Minnesota
you,
to watch-
Cannon, and Nova.
No, it wasn't. It was Johnson. It was Gidge. I'm thinking maybe there's one more person that I'm missing. Aaron? Because maybe Aaron was with us. Aaron was with us. It was Aaron Corbin was with us. Yeah, it was the five of us. We had and Nova.
I thought
Nova was with
the
two.
Other story when you almost got me arrested.
Nope, not that one. Not that one. We can save that for a rainy day. It's very true. It's a very true story. But anyway, we had all gone out to Ring of Honor in Chicago. Yep. On the way back, we stopped off. For some food. We stopped off for lunch. We hit a Culver's on a Sunday at noon, right? And so the place was friggin' packed, bro. I mean, so many people in there. I need you guys to also keep in mind, Jay was definitely still at his 500-pound weight. Jay was very loud. That's the one thing about Jay is like he doesn't need a microphone for anything. He doesn't even have one right now. He is 2 hours away from me, and I can just hear him naturally because that's just his voice carries. And
those fucking kids.
So we get into the restaurant, and some of the guys go to order food, and they get their food and they go sit down. They're sitting on the other side of the restaurant from where the bathroom is. So you think about how Culver's is set up. It's kind of in the one corner where the bathrooms are, and it's up by the registers. And so now we're on the window side. We're as far away from that section of the restaurant as you can get, really, because it's the biggest table that they have that's able to seat all of us. So Jay, we've been on the road a while. Jay is going to go and use the restroom. So Facebook, if you're following me out there, just stick with me because there's a big payoff for this story here in a second. So Jay heads into the bathroom. The other boys go in, they order their food, and they go sit down. And Jay's been gone a while. And so now I'm thinking, man, I'm going to go to the bathroom too, because Culver's is packed, lots going on. It's going to be a while before I get my food. And I walk into this bathroom, all right? Now, Jay is seated in a stall. I can clearly see that. And there are these two little boys playing in the water in the sink right next to the stall where Jay is at.
They've been in the entire time, too.
Yep. And Jay does not know that I'm in there. As far as he knows, the only people that are in there are these two little boys that are just screwing around in the sink with all the water. And so I use the urinal, and then I go over to the one sink, and these kids are looking at me, and I grab just handfuls of paper towels, and I put my finger over my lips like this to shh to the little boys, right? Just don't say anything. And they know what's up. They know exactly what's up. So I've got all these paper towels, and now I'm getting them wet in the sink, and I reach over the top of that stall, and I throw them down on top of Jay. And I mean, there was a lot of paper towels, and they were soaking wet.
Yep.
And I hear Jay go, "Oh, he thinks it's the little boys that are doing this to him, right?" And I have lost my mind. I am laughing so incredibly hard. I walk out of the bathroom, and these two little boys, their mom and grandmother are standing there. And here I come, and I am laughing so hard. And this mother is like, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "Everything is fine. The boys will tell you." And here come the boys were right behind me, and they're laughing, and they're leaving. They're walking out of the restaurant, and they're telling grandma and mom about everything that just happened. So now I go back to the table, and I'm sitting down, and I just finished telling all the guys, like, man, Jay's going to be so pissed because I just threw all these wet paper towels all over him, and he yelled at these little kids in there. He called them a name he shouldn't have called them. and here comes Jay, man. Now he opens that bathroom door. Remember I told you it was on the other side of the restaurant on a busy-ass Sunday? Jay starts yelling, "Where are those motherfuckers?" on the other side of the restaurant. And he is screaming. He's screaming. He is 500 pounds of angry, just screaming.
All in a China shop.
The Culver's could not have been busier. I mean, it was jam-packed with people getting out of church.
And it was a Sunday.
It was a Sunday. And Jay is just cussing about the whole thing. And he is mobile at this point. He is walking around. He's trying to find these kids that you got to realize too, we're all seeing this, right? And Jay is noticeably soaked. I mean, he's dripping wet. And he's pissed about it. And So
and I
he
knew who
comes
they
over,
were because
Jay-
they were there when I
they were
went in.
Yeah, man. Yep. Jay's out in the parking lot now. He's looking for these kids. He hadn't ordered his food yet, right? And we're all inside. We're trying to keep a straight face because we don't want to we want to see how long this is going to go on for, okay? Now here comes Jay. He's coming back in, and he's going to sit down at the table. And we're all eating our food like, man, those kids, terrible what the youth culture is like these days,
Little
Jay. They're picking up.
bastards.
So we said, Jay, man, what the hell happened? And Jay's like, well, I was in the bathroom taking a shit, and these fucking kids were in there, and they got all these fucking paper towels, and they threw them on top of me. They're soaking fucking wet. And then here's the punchline, folks. Here's the punchline. And then they yelled, fuck you, fatty. Keep in mind, I'm the one that threw the paper towels on him, and I said no such thing. Jay embellished that story so bad. Now keep it, and everybody knew what happened. Everybody sitting at that table knew exactly what happened, and they burst out laughing. I mean, losing it. Jay's straight-faced and angry, and I looked at Jay and I said, man, that sounds like a hate crime, Jay. I don't think you should have to put up with it. He's like, I fucking know, right? It's like these fucking kids. And then I don't know when we finally smartened you up that it was me, man, but like
It was on the ride home.
Oh God, I was laughing so hard over that.
Dude, thank God he did not catch grandma pulling away in the Cadillac with the kids in the back seat.
Dude.
Believe me, I knew. I looked at those kids when I went in, and I was like, "Oh, these fucking kids."
Profiling. These are some fucking paper towel throwing fucking heathens in here.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Oh, how dare they? Just middle of Wisconsin, nowhere, just like Culver's lunch rush on
That
a
was
Sunday.
That was that also was the same day that Joe told me to shut up. Remember in the arena?
Samoa Joe. Yeah, that was the night before.
Samoa Joe.
Yep. He told you, he said like that. Put your calm down. And Jay's so loud. Jay's in the back row of this arena, yelling at the top of his lungs, "Fuck him up, Joe!" Yeah. And Samoa Joe stops what he's doing during the match and turns and looks at Jay. This Jay right here to tell him to be quiet.
So I was painting the picture because that's how angry and loud I was in Culver's.
Oh yeah, everybody knew what was going on. They're like, Godzilla has attacked, folks, and we don't know what's going on here. I mean, it was a big scary man.
Yeah, too bad Joe didn't say "fuck you, fatty." God damn.
And then he was actually here in the Twin Cities like a couple weeks after that. And we went to that show and I met Joe and I had brought that up. I'm like, remember like 2 weeks ago in Chicago when you were like, shh, that was me. And he's like, no shit. And we took that picture together. Yeah.
Nice. All right, man. Hey, Jay, listen, it has been an absolute pleasure. We have gone 2 hours long on this deal, and we can't thank you enough for hopping on and being a part of this. Our first live to Facebook, and it was you. Thank you so much for joining us, though.
Nah, thanks for having me. I'm back, baby. I'm
Jay's
back.
Better than ever.
I'm gonna
yell at the kids next time.
I'm going to stick you in the green room, so I want you to hang out for a few minutes. Randy and I are going to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
But again, I just want to say thank you. This has been an awesome interview, and I'm really glad that you could do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jay, hang out. Randy, here we go, man. We're going to wind her down. What'd you think of that one? We did pretty good, huh? Pretty good with the interview.
Are you serious, dude? Like, we're over a half an hour into overtime, and that it felt like it just went and just right on through.
Yep,
it's a treat to talk to Jay. It always has been.
I'm kind of thinking, as we keep going down this path and trying to give confidence tips to people along the way, I'm kind of thinking people's stories are what needs to be told. And I know that I had a lot of fun doing this interview. I'd love to do a whole bunch more,
Sure.
And we'll keep going. John Halverson is asking who's next. I don't know, John. Maybe you are. We'll have to see. It'd be cool to have you on here. But we'll have to find out. Maybe this is the new thing. Maybe we need to have guests. I don't know.
I think it's a nice little recipe.
It is.
It works easy. The show's real easy to run that way. Just everything flows together, and we're sitting like a bunch of guys talking about old times and shit. It's just fun.
And we get to hear your dog bark in the background while you eat. pizza rolls and
That was Nikki getting ready to leave for work.
Don't you talk about her like that. How dare you?
I'm not, dude. She's going to remove your scrotum through your fucking throat.
I believe every word of that. If our fans out there want to find you, Randy, on the internets, where can they find you?
Oh, you can just find me right here.
They can. They absolutely can. Here at Wrestling with Tomorrow. But if they want to find you on the social medias, where would that be?
Oh my goodness, you do this to me every time after I tell
It's
you
like
something.
one of these days you're gonna remember that it's coming though, right? Drink a little
Probably
water.
not. Oh,
You know?
you want me to drink? Nah. Randy _Harig _ Wrestling W Tomorrow. Hey, check this shit out.
Oh boy. What is happening?
Dude,
Right,
pizza's
and
here.
you get more food for you. Perfect.
Hey, you know what happens? You know what happens is when you got a daughter that works at a place that serves Godfather's Pizza.
Dude, Godfather's is legit.
Sometimes you get treated. So
I revoke my previous statement.
You can tongue them.
Carry on. You would love that.
Oh, look at this here. 4 meat.
Sounds like a wild night. Do you want to tell the fans, or are you going to eat now and I'll just do the close?
What do you want me to tell the fans?
Just forget it. Just forget.
Randy _Harig _ Wrestling W Tomorrow. And also here on Facebook. And if you can find me anywhere else, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and then this guy.
Yeah, you can find me at Gator McGraw, MAGRAW, over on Instagram. KennyConfidence.com has launched. Still working a couple of the kinks out on there, by the way. But if you are looking for a speaker to come to your business or school, please connect with me. I have taken my entire TED Talk at this point, added a whole bunch onto it, expanded it to a 60-minute keynote, and now I need to get out there and actually start showing it to the world, man. I'm a little nervous about it, but it's going to be awesome.
Be that one. Be the one that says, I was the one.
It's going to be awesome. Also, micro brawlers. Here's what you need to know. Not a ton of them left. If you want one, strictlygator.com is the place to find them. Also, Randy and I are still shooting bonus episodes for our Patreon. We are looking to be filming the February one. I thought we were going to do it tonight, man. I don't think we're going to be able to pull it off. We'll do it in 2 weeks. But we're going to be filming all these bonus episodes over on our Patreon. It's patreon.com /wrestling with tomorrow. For $1 a month, you can get all of our notes that we put. Randy and I prepare for these. We put notes together, and you get to see those notes before the podcast goes live. You also get access to our private Facebook group. If you give our Patreon $3 a month, you also get access to all of those bonus podcast episodes that we've done. And think about it like this. At this point, we've got 4, 5, 6 of them in there. The longer you wait, the more you're going to be able to watch, because they're all in there. You can rewatch them. You can whatever you want to do, but they're all, if you enjoy my banter with Randy or Randy's banter with me, you will certainly enjoy these bonus episodes.
Hey, one of these days we need to include the bowling ball video.
The bowling ball video is on my YouTube channel. It's there.
Yeah, well, right, I'm just saying, dude, like, people need to know this. That's iconic.
We could do commentary for it. You know, we could definitely, a guy gets his teeth knocked out by a bowling ball at a show that we were on. You were in the ring for it. We kind of need to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, it was huge.
All right, what else do we got? Oh, please subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe over there and leave us a review, a 5-star review, because it helps people just like you be able to find this podcast very easily. It helps the podcast gods shine down upon us with a little bit of
a little bit of love, baby. A
little bit of advertising money, baby, to help us keep going with this.
Like favorite, tell your girlfriend, you bet you that she won't watch it. She'll watch it. Come on.
She will watch it. Yeah. I am also teaching a seminar. It's a wrestling seminar, workshop, whatever you want to call it. It is not your typical wrestling workshop. This is specifically about sales and marketing for people who are either current wrestlers or aspiring professional wrestlers. But I am sitting with them on March 21st at True North Wrestling. We're going to start at 4:00. Before the doors open, you get to come in, you get to sit with me, you get a free copy of my book. It is $30 to join that class. It is 1 hour. If you are an aspiring professional wrestler, I'm telling you right now, there is no way you won't recoup that $30 if you try a couple of the things that I'm going to show you. I have 10 years in the wrestling business. I have 15 years in B2B sales and marketing business. So if you want to learn how to marry the two of those things, sales and marketing along with professional wrestling, you need to be there. You need to be part of this. Reach out to me or True North Wrestling. And last but not least, Randy, I think it'd be important for us to talk just real quick about what's happening with Lucha Union. So you can certainly sprinkle in some stuff here. You know, all of anybody who's watching us or following along with us knows that we've had to put the Lucha Union brand on temporary hiatus.
Yeah, don't say what you're going to say. Don't say that.
I caught it. That was totally unintentional.
That was.
It is currently on hiatus. And that is because the current political climate here in Minnesota is not favorable for us to run that show. Once the favorable clouds shine upon us again, or fuck it, you know what I'm trying to say. Once the situation that we're under remedies itself, we will begin replanning the return to the El Parole Ballroom in Austin, Minnesota. But until then, we're just going to kind of like hang out and wait to see how things kind of shake out.
It's a matter of time. Tune in here to find out details.
Yeah,
we are excited to get back, as excited as you guys. We if not more, to get back in the building and get running again. This is the last thing we wanted to do.
Yeah,
but just with things going on and everybody's safety, we're just gonna hold off and err on the side of safety for it, and we will 100% return. 100%.
And that's going to do it. Everybody, I want to say thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Wrestling with Tomorrow. Randy, wind us down. Give it to him now.
Oh, I'm going to give it to him now. How was that? Pretty good? No?
Dude, I turn it over to you at the end of every single episode. And
I know, because you don't know how to finish.
I started saying, I don't even say the word segue anymore. We could segue over to Randy's close.
There you go. There you go.
My goodness.
Be good to each other. We love you. Love each other. If you're in a dark spot, find someone to talk to. You're not alone. You're never, ever alone. And things aren't always the easiest, but don't give up. Have a good night. Be safe. We'll see you soon.
Oh, boots on the ground, hearts in the fire.